Welcome back to the Beautifully Intentional podcast. So in today's episode, now that Halloween is over and it's officially the holidays, let's talk about presents, toys, gifts, all the stuff. I talked in my stories a few weeks ago about how we do Christmas, and I got a lot of questions. So I'm just going to answer them all in this episode. So if you are a person who loves to spend all of your money and buy a boatload of toys, and that is your love language, is giving gifts, and that is your thing, this is by no means meant to make you feel bad for that in any way. This is simply an episode for those people who find themselves frustrated at how much money they spend every year for Christmas. They find themselves frustrated at how much time and effort and all of it, like all of the stress. And this is just a way that we have found more peace about doing Christmas and holidays and all that kind of stuff. So if you also can't stand how much money you spend, how much time you spend, how you feel like your kids don't appreciate all that you do when it comes to Christmas, this episode is for you, my friend. So let's get started. Welcome to the Beautifully Intentional podcast, where I share stories to encourage you to live a more intentional life. Whether it's in your motherhood journey, your friendships, your 9-to-5 job, or pursuing just radical dreams. I believe that sometimes we can just get stuck in the mundane craziness of life, and all it takes is one encouraging word to give us hope to live for something greater. I share stories of living intentional through the simple things like self-care, clean spaces, parenthood, and going after your dreams. My hope is that at the end of every episode, there's a fire set deep within your soul that says, I can do this. And that maybe today is your day to find the beauty in the things that go unnoticed and start living a more intentional life. This is Cassandra Lau, and welcome to Beautifully Intentional. So I want to start off by how Christmas was for me growing up. So I was raised by a single mom who worked her butt off, and we didn't get a ton of quality time with her. And so her way of showing love to us and showing us that she cared for us was by buying us a ton of Christmas presents. I just remember every year waking up in the morning and our whole living room being filled, and there was 4 of us. So, I mean, you multiply one person's haul by 4 and it looks like a ton, I honestly don't know how she did it. I don't know how she afforded it. She probably put it on credit. But yeah, so Christmas, we were always spoiled, always spoiled. I don't remember doing a ton of back to school shopping or being taken care of in that way with material things. It was always Christmas, just whatever we wanted, she would get us. And I think that Dustin actually was raised the same way. I don't know that it was like a love language thing as much as their family was also spoiled for Christmas. I remember my best friend, she grew up and her family was more conservative and they showed love in lots of other ways. And I remember every Christmas she would call okay, so what did you get? And I would have this long list. I'm like, what did you get? And she's like, well, I got a new Bible and I got a curling iron and I'm pumped, She's like, bring over all of your stuff. I want to see all of it. So then I would seriously pack all of my new stuff into a suitcase and bring it over and we would just have a heyday with it. But, so naturally I took that mentality into our home when we had kids. As long as we could afford it, we would spend lots of money in those first few years, when they were little, and just buy all of their favorite things. And after a few years of that, I would find myself so irritated at the fact that they would ask for this stuff, I would buy them the stuff, and then 3 weeks later, I'm not kidding, at best, 3 weeks later, they would be asking for new stuff. What the heck? You know what I mean? Or pieces would be lost or broken, or they would just lose interest, in that short amount of time. In fact, I actually remember the first time that we ever bought them everything on their list. Each kid gave us their little list and we bought them everything on their list. And granted, they were really young, we're talking 3, 4, and 5. So that's really easy to do with little kids, to buy them everything because they wanted things like a Barbie and shoes, so it was easy, but nonetheless, we bought them everything on their list. And So Christmas morning rolls around, they open the first present. I'm super excited. I'm all pumped, like over the moon, like waiting, for their like super surprised face. I have my camera out. I'm like videotaping it. And they would open the present, and then all they cared about was opening another present. Like I could have literally wrapped empty boxes and they would have been thrilled. Like so irritating. And I just felt like I had wasted so much money and so much effort, So I don't really know where the first time I had ever heard of the idea of trading gifts for experiences. I have no idea. Maybe it was in a book, maybe it was a podcast, maybe somebody else shared this. I don't really know. But we first started putting that into practice at birthdays, except it was choosing birthday parties or experiences. And so we would give them the choice, because I'll admit it, I hate birthday parties. Like I love a good Pinterest themed party. I appreciate them. I love going to them. I hate throwing them. And it's not that I hate the parties as much as I hate the amount of time, effort, money, all of that. I hate that it takes all of that and how much effort just to enjoy for 3 hours. Like maybe if I could throw a Pinterest party and it lasts like a week, then maybe I'd be into it. But I just don't feel like they're worth how much it takes to pull off. You know what I mean? It's like buying a car and paying more than it's worth. And for some of you, it brings you joy to put all of that effort and spend all that money for 3 hours. So you do you throw your Pinterest party. Please invite me because I love going to them. But like doing all of that stuff doesn't bring me joy. What brings me joy is spending quality time with the people that I love, and those memories lasting longer than 3 hours. You know what I mean? So I think that like the first time I had ever we ever traded like the whole experience for a birthday party, I want to say Zuri might have been like 6, maybe she was in like kindergarten. I know what it was. The first year I wanted to give her an option. So I was already over it. By the time she was 5, she was our oldest. And by the time she was 5, I'm like, I'm over this. Like, this is so lame. And I had given her the option and she wanted a birthday party. So it was her first year in public school. She had gone to preschool before that, and we didn't always throw parties with a ton of like school friends. It was more like family and all of our friends who have kids that our kids have known forever. And she was her first year in school, and she was like, I want to throw a birthday party. And she had been to another like over the top themed birthday party. And she was like, I want a birthday party just like that, with like the themed jump house and the piñata and the cupcakes and like the goodie bags and all of the stuff. And it was her 5th birthday. So we gave her that choice because it was her 5th birthday. And she wanted to invite all of her friends from school. We don't have a massive house. And I know that our family pretty much like our extended family, like aunts and uncles and cousins, that pretty much takes up our whole house. So I was like, you can pick 5 friends from school to invite. Well, of course, none of those 5 friends could come. So the whole time at the birthday party, she just kept asking like, where are my friends? Where are my friends? I'm like, I don't know. I know that some of them, it was their sibling's birthday. Another one is out of town. Another one said she's coming. I don't know where she is, And the whole party, she couldn't even enjoy it because she was so disappointed at the fact that, these school friends couldn't be there. And I'm like, Zuri, look around. Like you have there's like 15 friends here. And she's like, I know, but they're not my school friends. I'm like, oh my gosh. It was so heartbreaking. So ever since then, we'll give them the choice, because I felt like she realized that we did all this stuff and then she didn't even really have fun. And granted, for her, it was more of disappointment because the kids didn't show up. But and then one school friend ended up showing up as the last party guest had left. That other friend got there, but it ended up like all being a good thing. But so ever since then, we've just told them like, you could, go to this water park, or we could throw a birthday party, or we could go to, I don't know, somewhere super fun, or a birthday party. We'd kind of make birthday parties sound lame, but so that they choose like the experience. But anyway, so So now if the kids do want to get together with their friends, I explain to them, like, here's the thing. Like, I can't be all things. So there's a lot of things I'm really good at, and there's some things that I just don't want to put my effort to. Birthday parties is one of them. So if you want to have your friends over, I'll order a pizza, and maybe I'll get like colorful paper plates, but I'm not going to do decorations or piñata or the goodie bags and the whole nine. And to be honest, like, we have thrown parties where we do all that stuff, and then we've since then have thrown parties where we literally just do pizza. The kids have like a picnic out on a blanket in the grass, and they jump on the trampoline, and I'm not kidding you, they have the same amount of fun, because at the end of the day, they just want to be with their friends, and they just want to open presents, and all of the external things are super fun too. But what I've learned, at least about my own children, and maybe this isn't the same for everybody, but for my kids, those are the two things that they want. They just want to hang out with their friends, and they just want to open presents. So why am I going to go above and beyond and put in all this effort and spend all this money when that doesn't bring me joy to do, and the kids don't have more fun because of it? You know what I mean? So for their birthdays, we do still buy them birthday presents, because we actually don't buy them toys throughout the year. Like, I know parents that go to Target and they buy their kids a new toy every single time they go to Target. And again, if that is you and that is your life, there is literally nothing wrong with that. Like, hear me, there's nothing wrong with that. But that's just not how we run our home. So anytime the kids ask us for anything outside of their like basic needs, the answer is always, you can save your own money and buy it, or you can put it on your birthday list. So for birthdays, we do still buy presents, because it's the only time of year we actually buy presents is on their birthdays. So trading the parties for experiences has seriously been so life-changing. And so then we started implementing doing that at Christmas, but trading out the gifts for experiences. So when we first started doing it for Christmases, and even right now, we still do stockings. We still do like a stocking, and then we'll get them like 1 or 2 gifts that are on their list that are something that they've been talking about for a long time. And it's usually nothing super crazy. And again, our kids are still young, so it's still easy for us to get away with just getting them a toy that they've been talking about for a long time, you know? But the first time we ever like traded out all of the presents, it was for, I think, SeaWorld passes. So we've done SeaWorld passes one year we've done Legoland passes, one year we did Discovery Cube Museum passes. So usually we have like done some sort of annual pass. We've swapped out getting them all individual gifts, and we've done a big family gift. Like, we got them each a new bike, because they all needed a new bike, and then, you know, a new helmet and all of that, and a water bottle, and then we got them like a trampoline. So we have done it that way before. This last year we got them annual passes, but we also took them on a trip. We went to Arizona to the Polar Express. That was super fun. So we typically will like get them some sort of annual pass. However, this year we're really focusing on trying to pay off all of our old debt and build like a solid savings. So we're going to do things a little bit differently this year and for the next couple of years while we do that, because even though we save money at Christmas by buying annual passes still cost money throughout the year. Like, it costs us in gas to drive to wherever that location is, the parking, food, all of it. So Christmas this way doesn't necessarily save you money. And this isn't about the best way to save money at Christmas. That's not what this podcast is about, because honestly, sometimes it can actually cost you more. This is just more about getting the most value out of the money that is spent at Christmas and cutting back the amount of stress and all of it. So, I had gotten a handful of questions, so I'm going to answer some of those. That's kind of how we have done Christmas. That's kind of how we do it. I know that one of the questions was, do you not do anything at all? Do you still do stockings? So yes, we still do stockings, and we will get them like 1 or 2 like little presents, and then we will do something fun for them to open up the like annual pass, and they won't necessarily know what the pass is going to be for. So like this last year we did Legoland, and we did like a whole scavenger hunt, and they had to find I don't know. So they did a whole scavenger hunt that led them to eventually turning on the TV, and it had a big ad for Legoland passes. It actually had Legoland Florida. Somehow that got past Dustin when he was setting it up. Probably because he did it at like midnight on Christmas Eve. And the kids were like, we're going to Legoland Florida? Like, what? So anyway. So some other questions have been, how do you handle family members that want to give gifts? So for us personally, we actually still let family members give gifts because we've always just taken the money that we typically would spend on gifts and we buy those experiences instead. And our family love giving gifts, and so we just let them. And I know that there are some families that they'll do it a couple different ways. So there's some families who will have the whole family pitch in for one large gift. So I knew a family that had all of their family pitch in for a really big, like, family trampoline. Some families don't allow toys at all and just encourage family members to pick an experience date. So like taking a kid on a special date throughout the year, that family member can give a gift of taking that kid out to the movies or to get ice cream or to go on a picnic. So there are some families that will like make it a rule that like no toys, and typically I think that those are most commonly found in like the minimalist like households where they just don't want toys at all. I personally don't mind the kids having toys for a little while, and then every 6 months it's like we sell them at consignment stores anyway, or at the consignment event. So if you personally did not want your family still giving presents and you're trying to cut back on the presents, you could also even pitch the idea of them instead of buying presents, you guys all put in the money and go on like a family cruise. Like, how fun would that be? For the adults in our house, we pick names at like Thanksgiving, and all of the adults buy one gift for like a Secret Santa, and then all of the adults buy all of the kids' stuff. But if you have a family that feels like, yeah, let's put all of our money in and let's just go on a family cruise instead of buying each other presents and instead of buying the kids presents and all of that, like that's another good idea. Another question was, how do you make time for the experiences when life is so busy? And that is such a good question, honestly, because I feel that, like, I totally get that. And a couple of ideas that I have for us personally, we just schedule it in. We get real intentional with our time, and we just know that we make time for it. So for example, I'm a hairstylist, if you don't know that, and I work during the week, and I work 2 Saturdays a month, but I usually have 2 off. And usually one of those Saturdays that we have off are something that the kids have going on. But we know that for a fact, every single last Saturday of the month, I rent out my station to another hairstylist. So no matter what, the last Saturday of every month is family day. And that's usually where we will like use whatever annual pass we have. So usually once a month, we will use whatever experience they got for Christmas. We'll go do whatever that thing is. Sometimes it's every other month because it is still costly to do those things, even if you already have the admission for free because you've already paid for it. It's gas, it's parking, it's food, it's all of that. So usually about once a month, maybe every other month, but yeah, you just have to get real intentional about scheduling it in. If you didn't have time to do that, there's even things like local museums or an indoor playground or like local amusement parks or movie tickets for a year. Like when we get annual passes, we just try to schedule it in and we make it happen, but it doesn't have to even be an annual pass. Like it could be, hey, we're going to go to Disneyland for the day instead of buying toys. You could go to Disneyland on Christmas Day instead of spending the day opening up presents and all of that stuff. Some other toy alternatives actually are things like horse riding lessons for a year, painting classes for a year, like cooking classes. Like in our culture, we pay for all these extracurricular activities and our kids have no clue how expensive some of those are. Like it's a gift and they don't even know it, So I'm a huge supporter in giving extracurricular activities that your kids want to do as a gift. I know that, like for some families, there's like something on the roof. I don't know what it is. But for some families, you know, their kids are in sports and it's a non-negotiable because for them, they're investing in, you know, discipline and team building and all of that stuff. But there are so many extracurricular activities that our kids would love to do that cost so much money. So, you know, some year for Christmas, you could say instead of, you know, buying toys this year, like you get to pick, like, what do you want to do? And we'll, you know, pay for it for 6 months or whatever. But, so yeah. Some other toy alternatives is something that they need. So like this year, we're going to get the kids all new beds. So our girls they have bunk beds and they've had the same bunk beds since they were 2 and 3, and now they're 8 and 9. And Jet has been sleeping on his crib converted into like a little toddler bed, and he's 5. And so we're going to get them like all new beds. And so we're actually going to buy them, pick them out, and then just wrap the boxes. We'll get them new bedding. We'll wrap those. We'll get, you know, a couple other like furniture pieces, like a little nightstand and a couple other things, and just wrap all of that stuff. And on Christmas Day this year, we're just going to, they'll open up all of those and we'll just spend Christmas Day eating, staying in our pajamas, building furniture together, rearranging their rooms, like. And I know that our kids are going to be thrilled. So it's taking something that they need. That doesn't have to be a Christmas gift. Like, you know, we could just go buy them new beds, no problem. But I think that taking their needs and turning it into a gift just kind of builds gratitude. You know what I mean? Like we'll turn all of their needs into gifts. Come October, like we don't buy anything without it turning into a gift. So like their stockings, they're stuffed with things like a new cool toothbrush, like underwear, socks, chapstick, things that they need now become a gift because they are a gift. And I think so often in our culture, we forget what privilege looks like, and we like it's just a part of our normal everyday life. But man, there are so many things that are a gift. And as parents, and as a parent, it's my job to do the very best that I can to teach my kids gratitude and to teach them what privilege looks like. So I try to do that every day, but especially at Christmas. It's like, I don't want Christmas to be so wrapped up in like, these are all the things that I want. I want all of these toys and all these things that don't matter. And there's nothing wrong with toys. There's nothing wrong with gifts. But at Christmas, I want to teach them that like, once a year, I mean, God forbid, not throughout the rest of the year, but at least this time of year, like these are things that are a gift to us. Like a toothbrush, that's a gift. Like it's a gift that we can just walk into a store, buy a toothbrush, and that like we have beds to sleep on, but man, isn't it cool to get a new bed and to get like new fluffy bedding? Isn't that cool? You know? And so anyway, so that's kind of our mentality going into Christmas, even just with the experiences, you know? In fact, so we did a whole, like, we chose for them that we were going to do an experience. And then the next year we had given them the choice. We said, you guys can choose if you want to get annual passes somewhere. We'll do annual passes, or you guys can choose gifts. And simultaneously, they all chose gifts. And we're like, all right, so you guys understand though, that means for a year, we're not going to have annual passes anywhere, and we won't be going to do fun things for a whole year. You guys know that, right? And they're like, yeah, we want toys. So we're like, all right. So we got them all whatever presents they wanted. And again, they're young, so it's easy to do, but got them all this stuff on their list. And I'm not kidding you, maybe 2 weeks after Christmas, they're like, when are we going to go to the zoo again? And I was like, well, my friend, not for a year. When are we going to go to this water park again? Well, my friend, not for a year. Like, and all year long I had to tell them, like, this is the price that you pay when you guys chose presents. We gave you the choice. You chose presents. So if you're bored and you want to do something, go play with the toys that we bought you last Christmas, you know? And for the first time, I think it was really eye-opening to them. Like, man, they're right. Like, it kind of sucks, you know? So, so then the next year, I don't know if we gave them the choice or if we just said, like, this is how we're going to do it. We do experiences instead of a ton of presents. And but they know that there's value in that because they felt that the year that we didn't take them to do anything fun because we bought them presents instead. So yes, that's how we do it with the kids. Another question that I got was, how do you and Dustin do gifts? So for me and Dustin, we are not huge spenders on stuff. And so for each other, we actually do like Christmas. Like we give each other a couple $100 budget each throughout the year. We kind of always just send each other ideas of like, hey, I've been super into this, or I like this, or, and we just each individually keep track of what the other person has kind of said that they've been wanting or eyeballing or into. And we actually do gifts for each other because we don't buy stuff throughout the year. And so it's the one time a year that we feel like, I know you've been eyeballing this, and we make sacrifices as a family to put our kids first, or trying to save first, or, we put all this other stuff first, and we sacrifice a lot as individuals, and we work really hard. And so it's the one time a year that we get to like bless each other with stuff. So we actually still do gifts. I think actually this year we're going to get a new bed too, because it sounds like a really nice gift. So we might not actually give each other a ton of stuff this year. I think we actually are going to get like a big adult mattress. But so I just encourage you that there is so much in our lives that we cannot control, and there is nothing that we can do about that. Like we can't change what we can't control. So whatever about the holidays that you can like control, I encourage you to get intentional about those things. And also I do want to speak into this as well, because the holidays are specifically hard when you have lost loved ones that you can't bring back. And it can be so dang painful. Like the holidays just magnify the reminder of the loss. And instead of, that's fine. Actually feel the loss. It's okay to remember the people that we have lost and to feel that loss. But let that drive you to get more intentional with those that you do have. Maybe it looks like buying them a crap load of toys and spending all Christmas Day playing together with them. But maybe it looks like not doing that at all. Maybe it looks like hopping in the car and just driving up the coast just to be together, or to go find a new adventure. Last year we gave our kids Legoland passes for the year, and originally we had planned to take them on Christmas Day. Like Christmas morning, we'll wake up, they'll open up their stockings, we'll get ready, we'll run out the door, we'll be at Legoland all day. And it just felt tiring. Like literally Christmas Eve, we're like putting stuff together and we're like, doesn't it just sound so tiring to go to a theme park tomorrow? So last minute, we just decided to slow it down, to have a nice, warm, slow breakfast. And then we found out that it was like snowing up the hill. So we all just jumped in our car in our pajamas and we just drove to find snow. And then we came back home and we just decided like, heck, let's go see a movie. So we went to the movies, and honestly, it was the best day ever. And then we just went to Legoland the next day. So were my kids less happy because they didn't get to open a ton of stuff? No, like we had a blast just being together. So I encourage you, if Christmas always ends up being frustrating, you spend way more money than you planned, and you end up with just a bunch of junk that you end up tripping over and stubbing your toe on, and it ends up breaking, I encourage you, change your story. Like you can get intentional about this. And yeah, so whatever that looks like for you, those are just some ideas that we have. There's so many ideas. I'm not the first person to do this. There's so many books on it. I'm sure there's some blog post on it somewhere, but that's just some of the ways that we have incorporated changing out all of the junk and replacing it with just meaningful time together. So I hope this helps you, and I hope that this year, even if it's the first year, that you really enjoy your Christmas with the people that you love, because tomorrow is not promised. And man, like I just don't want to get to the end of my life thinking that I was always stressed at Christmas time. So anyway, till next time. All right. This concludes season 1 of the Beautifully Intentional podcast. We are going to be taking a break for the holidays, and that way we can just enjoy our family. You guys can enjoy your family, and we will come back in January with the all new season 2. And I just wanted to take a minute just to thank you guys so much for all of your positive feedback, all of your comments. Every time somebody sends me a message, a DM, comments, shares, likes, whatever, all of it. I appreciate every single one. Every time somebody finds me in a grocery store or at church or at the salon and just takes a moment to just tell me what, a specific episode has done in your life, it has encouraged me so much. I have put so much thought and just getting intentional about sharing this message and just sharing my heart and getting as vulnerable as I can, being real and raw and honest as possible, trying to be as encouraging and relatable as possible. And so it just encourages me so much when I hear your guys' stories of how it's impacted your life. And so I have enjoyed doing this season. I love it, and I can't wait to get back to season 2. So enjoy your holidays, you guys. Spend as much time as you can with those that you love, and I will see you on the gram. I'll still be hanging out on Instagram at beautifully intentional. I'll be sharing my life, my kids, all my tips, beauty tips, all the stuff. So I will see you around. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you found this episode inspiring or encouraging and just life-giving. And as always, I appreciate any and all positive feedback, keynote positive feedback. So tag me, message me, go on iTunes and leave a review, rate, subscribe, because that's how podcasts stay alive. And I didn't even mean to rhyme there, so that works. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at beautifully intentional, and that's where I hang out. That's where you can kind of see me in my own personal life. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening in. Until next time.